Welcome to The Lead. I'm Jake Tapper, and we start today with breaking news. The years-long investigation is over, and John Durham, the special counsel investigating whether there was any misconduct by the FBI in the Trump-Russia investigation, just released his findings. For years, as you may recall, Donald Trump and his supporters pinned their hopes on the investigation by the former U.S. Attorney for Connecticut. John Durham, later named special counsel by Attorney General Bill Barr. Trump and his allies arguing that Durham would exonerate him and his 2016 campaign and associates from any hint of improper behavior regarding the Russian government's attempts to interfere in the 2016 election. Durham is coming was the slogan and the meme tweeted by Republican lawmakers and the president's family, hinting that Durham would lead to bombshell indictments of those who investigated Trump. Now, the bombshell indictments did not happen. Durham did get one minor court victory, 2 court losses. But President Trump appeared so confident of what Durham would find, he openly pressured the special counsel to release his findings before the 2020 election. Regardless, the report is now here. It has dropped, and it might not have produced everything of what some Republicans hoped for. It is, regardless, devastating to the FBI, and to a degree, it does exonerate Donald Trump. Let's bring in CNN senior justice correspondent Evan Perez. Evan, what exactly did Durham find in this report?
Well, Jake, the bottom line finding from John Durham's 4-year investigation is that the FBI moved very quickly to investigate these allegations of connections, of collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia, and that they did so by ignoring a lot of evidence that would have led them to drop that altogether. He's saying that they may have had reason to open a preliminary investigation, an assessment. Perhaps these are very, very low-level investigations, but certainly what he finds is that there wasn't enough there to support the FBI's decision to open a full-blown investigation of this of the Trump-Russia ties back in 2016. I'll tell you one part of what he writes here. He says that it seems highly likely that at a minimum, confirmation bias played a significant role in the FBI's acceptance of extraordinarily serious allegations derived from uncorroborated information that had not been subjected to the typical exacting analysis that the FBI usually uses. He goes on to say that the FBI discounted or willfully ignored material information that did not support the narrative of a collusive relationship between Trump and Russia. There's a lot of very sharp criticism here of the former FBI leadership, James Comey, Andy McCabe, who were running the FBI and who oversaw a lot of these, a lot of the steps that the report goes into, Jake. But as you pointed out, bottom line, there are no additional charges. Nobody is bringing charges against Comey or anybody else that the former president Trump kept saying he expected them to. There was a former Clinton campaign outside lawyer who was brought up on charges. He was acquitted. Again, in here, there's a footnote that points out there's no chargeable crimes against people in the Clinton campaign. Again, something that the former president said he expected this investigation to find, Jake.
This is the breaking biggest news of the day. Wasn't necessarily the top story for us today, but this kind of fell out of the air. A lot of video footage to cover of just the reaction of both sides. And when I say both sides, I'm talking about red, blue, because that's the lens. They cannot report news without reporting it through that lens. But I started out with this video because Jake Tapper is, I don't know what the word is called when you're on the verge of being canceled, but Jennifer Rubin calls him out. When these things, devastating things happen, it's the Democrats or the Democratic establishment's history to just pause a second so they can discuss and come up with a plan of messaging, which takes like literally, it can't happen the same day. It's usually takes at least a day. So for example, the Trump town hall, you saw the reaction, how it took them a day to catch up with talking points for it because they had to come together and come up with those talking points. When stuff drops live, you get more of a genuine reaction. And that's what you got here. But the establishment doesn't like what he said. I think it already played. We'll listen to a little bit more of it. but where he says some of this sort of is devastating for the FBI, and this does partially exonerates Donald Trump or something along those lines. That line is what's getting him, what is that called? Canceled apprenticeship? I don't know. But let's listen to a little more.
It's very interesting. First of all, we should note that when President Biden took office, there were two special counsels, or one U.S. attorney and one special counsel, that he let continue doing their jobs. One was John Durham doing this case, and the other one was the U.S. attorney in Delaware investigating Hunter. So that is why this was allowed to proceed. A couple quotes here from Durham's report. One, based on the review of Crossfire Hurricane, that's the investigation into Trump and Russia, and related intelligence activities, we conclude that the Justice Department and FBI failed to uphold their important mission of strict fidelity to the law in connection with certain events and activities described in the report. And he says about, quote, regarding certain personnel intimately involved in the matter, there was a, quote, predisposition to open an investigation into Trump. He is basically saying he's not, these are not criminal allegations, but he's saying that this was unprofessional and failed to meet the standards of the Justice Department and the FBI.
Jake, the stunning thing about this report is that we frankly know a lot of this. The Inspector General of the Justice Department did a 500-page report that came out in late 2019. And that one told us a lot of these findings that Durham is now confirming, frankly. One of the reasons why Durham was brought on board was supposedly to go beyond what the Inspector General of the Justice Department found in their investigation. And one of the things they were supposed to do was to tell us a lot about what the intelligence community was doing. It turns out they didn't find very much there in the intelligence community, and certainly not to support the suspicions that they had that there was a cabal of people from the FBI and the intelligence community who were out to get Donald Trump. That appears to have fallen flat as part of this investigation. And so, look, there's a lot in here that should make the FBI have to come back and answer some of the more questions, including some of the changes that they say they've made to make sure something like this never happens again. But the bottom line, from what we see here at the end of a 4-year investigation, really there doesn't tell us a hell of a lot more than what we knew a couple of years ago, when the Inspector General took a look at many of these things and came away with 17 very big troubling findings that they said the FBI needed to fix. Jake.
Yeah. So another thing. So Rachel Cohen, who is.
So we'll pause there and get to some of the other content that we want to cover. They actually posted it. The lead on CNN actually posted this particular clip themselves. So just can't believe this is